Negative back with another comic book review. This time it is for the first four issues of the new Daredevil series from writer Ahmed and artist Aaron Kuder. Here's issue 1, Romita Jr. Hannah cover. Issue 2, another Romita Jr. Hannah cover. Issue 3, believe it or not, this is Dustin Nguyen. It's Night's End cover because they killed off Moon Knight. Well, they celebrate the 30th anniversary of killing off Moon Knight by killing off Moon Knight. And issue 4, which came out a few weeks ago, this takes us up to, funnily enough, issue 666 of the run of Daredevil, in case you were counting, if you, from the first issue of 1964 up to now. And that's appropriate because this is very different. I find interesting. It's not a great book, but it's better than anything I've read from Ahmed. Period. I find Saladin Ahmed, a lot of these current Marvel writers, they're pushing just to be thoroughly average. Although with Kuder, he wound up writing, I think, one of the worst comic book stories I ever read, which would be Amazing Spider-Man 850, which is what the one about the Vulture's granddaughter, whose mother died, of course. And now, like, he's the only person in her life, I don't think Valeria Toombs is meant to be that kid's mother. I think it was another person at least in the Miller story that revealed it. But anyway, it's this story where the Vulture's granddaughter, apparently she believes the Vulture is a good guy and always has been a good guy because that's what he's told her, which I guess. And then she puts on her own Vulture costume. I'm going to be like Granddad. And then she goes and fights Spider-Man. And literally, this is how the story goes. Spider-Man, my grandpa was a great guy. You're a bad man. Ooh. Spider-Man's like, no, he killed people. No, you're lying. No, he killed people. No, he killed people. I was like, no, he killed people. And all of a sudden she says, well, he did? You're right? Oh, wow. I got to think about this. And walks away. That's not a story. Nick Lowe, Mr. Ahmed, Mr. Nick Lowe, that's not a story. That's a sequence of events punctured by dialogue. Like, she just keeps fighting Spider-Man and he keeps saying he did kill people until she says, oh, maybe you're right. Like, it's so bizarre. It was just a backup story, but it was in a backup story in Anniversary. I'm like, and it was so flavorless too. It was just like, she was just such like a typical. And of course, like, this does set up something later in the Zeb Wells Spider-Man, which is just make Vulture even angry at Spider-Man, which is like, I guess. And I understand that she became a supporting Spider in the Miles Morales book, but I haven't read a lot of that series, so I can't really comment on it. I don't really have a problem with like yet another, well, yet another legacy character, but it was just like, that's all it took was Spider-Man just insisting on it. Again, it's more important that we get the product out than it actually be good. And because if we told the writer there was something wrong with their story, they'd feel bad. Anyway, but so I was not looking forward to his run on Daredevil. I mean, I've read about a decent chunk of Chip Zdarsky's stuff. I think it was good. I think I didn't like it as much as I liked Charles Soule's run. But again, I haven't, I thought Charles Soule's run. I thought Charles Soule's run was actually fantastic. I thought one of the problems I had with Zdarsky's run is the fact that he put, not so much that like Elektra became his crime fighting partner, as she was in a Daredevil branded costume. I also think a lot of things going on at Marvel, it's like, we got to make a alternate version of this character so we can sell an action figure. But Marvel isn't in the business of selling action figures. It's like Marvel doesn't own Toy Biz anymore. Who's like all these like different like the entire Jason Aaron Avengers one is like, well, here's an alternate version, and then Elektra just runs around in a weird mutated version of her own costume with DD on it. And like then they published Daredevil, the Woman Without Fear, and I'm like, why? Like, if they were just gonna replace Matt with her for a while, I would have understood that. But it looks silly. it looks like they're trying to sell an action figure, which I don't get that mentality at Marvel, because who's buying action figures these days? But anyway, I thought, and I wasn't excited about the Hand or Devil's Reign, and I think he may, hopefully one day I'm going to sit down and really read the rest of it, but it didn't really click for me, as well as say Zdarsky's Spider-Man work clicked for me. But anyway, I'm gonna go. But like I said, when I heard Ahmed was announced, I was like, again, has not had a sales success. Has not really had a following. Like, Jed MacKay is right there. Jed MacKay, and again, he's not a huge seller, but like, I've enjoyed Jed MacKay comics. At this point, I haven't enjoyed any Saladin Ahmed comics. There's only one I've actively disliked. Again, a lot of these new writers are just boring and average. They're not even terrible. But Marvel seems to love using them because, anyway. But this I want to recommend because I think it's doing something. It's actually approaching the character from a new angle. It's actually really leaning into devils and gods. And like, at the end of Zdarsky's run, Matt died and was mysteriously resurrected. And now he is working. He has fragments of his memory. He's working as a youth pastor, running a home for wayward youths somewhere in Hell's Kitchen, under the name Father Matthew. And he keeps having flashes. Like, there's a really neat moment in the opening in the first issue, where there's a teenage prostitute, ex-teenage prostitute working there, and the pimp pops by. And, he's trying to get her to come back, and he just kung fu's the crap out of them. And it's really, again, Kuder is really like bringing his A game. He's always been a solid artist. Sometimes like, I don't like some of the big shots he does, some of the bigger shots he does, but I think he's really, this is, for lack of a term, there's a lot of splash pages here, a lot of double page spreads. For lack of a better term, it's kind of widescreen Daredevil. And what I don't mean by like, let's blow up a bunch of cities, thank God that's not in a Daredevil comic. It's just more like every page wants to be a big action scene. It really wants to grab you. There's a lot of interesting, actually pretty decent use of negative space in these comics and splash pages that I thought was and it's obviously taking a lot of effort for Kuder to draw, because there's a fill-in artist in issue who draws most of issue 3, and a completely different, and German Peralta draws the entirety of issue 4. So basically, Daredevil, like, Matt feels compelled to be Daredevil again, to investigate crimes. At the same time, there's a mysterious demonic figure, seemingly based on the 7 deadly sins, that is actually possessing random, like, first issue possesses Elektra in her goofy ass Daredevil costume. In the second issue it possesses, in the third issue it's in the fourth issue it's found to possess Ben Urich, and it looks like several villains, several demons. And that's different. That actually, like, what if Daredevil fought actual demons? It's been done before, but not to the extent it's been done here. Like, that's Ahmed's big idea. And there's another storyline involving, criminals and crime, etc. And it involves, and the fourth issue, of course, involves Bullseye, because he's on the cover. And he does this goofy thing where Daredevil knocks a tooth out. Teeth cost a lot to replace. I know people think this is funny when Bullseye does it, but it's also ridiculous. Daredevil punches Bullseye so hard a tooth flies out. He grabs the tooth and flicks it at a fire alarm to set it off. Like, it's cool, but it's also like, wait a second. Again, teeth cost a lot to replace. But I don't believe Ahmed identifies as Christian, but I just find the idea of using Christian iconography pretty compelling. There was some criticism, and I kind of agree with it, that one of the demons looked like an anti-Semitic caricature. But the site that was really pushing that is also a site whose editor-in-chief has a long-standing vendetta against Marvel Comics. And that site also credited Kelly Sue DeConnick with creating Carol Danvers, which, no. Kelly Sue DeConnick had nothing to do with the creation of Carol Danvers. Kelly Sue DeConnick was not even 10 years old when Kelly Sue DeConnick was not even 10 years old when Carol Danvers was created. No. But I'm not that. Apologies for that tangent. I honestly, the monster did look a little weird to me, a little off. So I'm gonna, but at the same time, it's like it's coming from that site, so I don't know. The one problem I have with the series so far is the kids. Like Matt doesn't interact with the kids enough because there's a scene where there's a really awesome scene in the third issue where he's like tearing through all these criminals, and he does it, like, and of course he's spending time. I mean, that's part of the point because he's spending time away with them. But would have liked a little more, just like more downtime with the kids. And they're all, I mean, so far they're just cliches, but it's the idea that like, oh man, again, the like widescreen Daredevil. It's just like, look at this artwork. It's just really fantastic. I mean, the third issue, most of the issue was drawn by, I believe, Farid Karami, who drew the most recent Venom Lethal Protector. And this guy really has genuine talent as opposed to a lot of the people Marvel hires lately. And I hope they use him for more stuff. And I think German Peralta, again, with this Bullseye thing, it was also like, Bullseye like kills like 50 people. And I'm like, A, he's just one guy. And B, like, mass casualty events, like, come on. Like, knock it off. But I like the idea of Daredevil actually having to go after demons that prey on human foibles, because like one of the ideas is Ben Urich is obsessed with making the Daily Bugle number paper, and so a demon possesses him to use a rumor said website to spread lies about Matt's youth center, but like again it preys on like Ben's ego, and I thought it worked really well. There's some goofy bits, like there's a scene where Ben shows up at the end of issue 4 and he's in a Lamborghini and a Hawaiian shirt. Like, was there a misdirection in the script? I'm not entirely certain what was going on there. Also, but like, it's weird. I'm doing these videos. I'm having trouble articulating what I think works about the comic book. But I really just think, like, in terms of like actually holding the reader's attention, this artwork is by Kuder and these other artists is pretty damn great. I'm not a huge fan of Marco Cicchetto. Not a bad artist, just not my speed. So like, again, like I think Ahmed's actually there's a sort of the idea of Daredevil fighting little demons, again, not done before, but not done to this degree. It's not the main focus of the comic. And I really would like to see what happens when Matt gets his full identity back. Will he decide to be a lawyer again? Because you want to be a lawyer to fight with these kids. And will Ahmed actually do some research about what youth issues are? I think that would be a great angle if he decides to go in that direction. But the fact that it's a Saladin Ahmed comic doesn't make me mad or put me to sleep. Puts it over on, a lot of comics I've read recently. I do hope Kuder sticks around, and I wish this comic wasn't also $5 an issue, but that's just the market. I can't do anything about that. But the fact that it's $5, I mean, I think these are, at least on this comic, it's going to be $5 an issue. Kuder, the artist especially, and the writer seem to be upping their game. So a cautious recommend for the first 4 issues of Daredevil. Once again, like the bell, hit subscribe for like and subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.